Have you ever felt an inexplicable presence when kneeling before the Blessed Sacrament? That sudden warmth in your chest, that unexpected tear rolling down your cheek, or that profound peace that seems to come from nowhere. These aren't just emotions, they're sacred encounters. And today I'll reveal what Padre Pio actually saw happening in that holy moment when we approach the Eucharist. This revelation changed thousands of lives and might forever transform your relationship with God. If you've ever wondered why some people experience the divine while others feel nothing, stay until the end. The last revelation is the most powerful one Padre Pio shared with only his closest confidants. Before we continue, if you believe in the power of the Blessed Sacrament, write in the comments, "Jesus, I adore you, present in the Eucharist." Your faith declaration helps spread this message to those who need it most. What exactly happens in those sacred moments before the tabernacle? For most of us, it seems like nothing extraordinary. We kneel, pray, and perhaps feel a sense of reverence. But through Padre Pio's mystical gifts, we can glimpse beyond the veil of ordinary perception. This humble Capuchin friar, whose hands bore the wounds of Christ for over 50 years, was blessed with an extraordinary vision. He could see the supernatural reality hidden from our limited human senses. "When I stand before the Blessed Sacrament," Padre Pio once confided to a spiritual son, "I see such glory that no words could ever describe it." If people knew what happens at that moment, churches would be overflowing day and night. The truth is that a profound transformation begins the moment you approach the Eucharist with faith. Something happens, not just around you, but within you. And today, through the mystical eyes of Padre Pio, I'm going to take you on a journey to discover what truly happens in that sacred moment. Revelations that might forever change how you experience the presence of God. Padre Pio explained that the space around the Blessed Sacrament is never empty. Countless angels gather in perpetual adoration, bowing before the King of Kings. They form a heavenly court that surrounds the host, creating a shield of pure devotion. According to Padre Pio, these angels don't just passively adore, they actively transmit graces to those present who open their hearts. The angels are God's messengers, he would say, carrying our prayers upward and bringing divine blessings downward. This invisible exchange happens continuously, whether we perceive it or not. Think about that. Right now, in every tabernacle around the world, this celestial gathering is taking place, waiting for souls to join in worship. Padre Pio often described seeing angels flanking the altar during Mass, their faces reflecting the glory emanating from the Eucharist. During the consecration, when bread and wine become the body and blood of Christ, he witnessed these heavenly beings prostrating themselves in profound adoration. Their presence intensifies the sacred space, creating what Padre Pio called a cathedral of light around the tabernacle. This angelic reality explains why many sensitive souls report feeling a distinct atmosphere in churches where the Blessed Sacrament is reserved. That subtle pressure in your chest, that feeling of walking into a thicker atmosphere. These are echoes of the angelic presence that Padre Pio perceived with perfect clarity. Our souls sense what our eyes cannot see. Even more astonishing is what Padre Pio observed about our personal guardian angels in the presence of the Eucharist. He saw that when we approach the Blessed Sacrament, our guardian angel bows deeply and steps slightly aside, creating a direct channel between us and Christ. This angel then assumes a protective stance, shielding us from distractions and spiritual interferences that might interrupt this sacred communion. Have you ever found yourself unexpectedly thinking of someone while in adoration? Padre Pio would explain that this is often your guardian angel bringing this person to your spiritual attention, inviting you to include them in the graces of the moment. Nothing before the Blessed Sacrament is coincidental. Even your thoughts are being gently guided toward divine purposes. The most beautiful aspect of what Padre Pio witnessed was how our presence before the Eucharist brings joy to these heavenly beings. "The angels rejoice," he once said, "when even one soul joins their eternal adoration." Your decision to spend time before the Blessed Sacrament literally brightens the celestial court. Have you noticed how some saints seem to be physically affected by the Eucharist? Teresa of Avila levitated during adoration. Catherine of Siena survived on nothing but the host for years. These weren't isolated miracles. They were visible manifestations of an invisible reality that Padre Pio witnessed daily. He saw that when we approach the Blessed Sacrament with genuine faith, a profound transformation begins. The very atoms of our being start to align with divine presence. A luminous exchange occurs, our humanity touching divinity, creating a sacred bridge between heaven and earth. Padre Pio described seeing a gentle light emanating from the host, reaching out like golden rays toward those in prayer. These rays didn't touch everyone equally. They seemed to seek out those whose hearts were most receptive. "The Lord respects our freedom," Padre Pio explained. "He never forces himself upon us. He stands at the door of our hearts and knocks, waiting to be invited in. Those who came with sincere hearts, regardless of their past sins or present struggles, received these rays most abundantly. The light would envelop them, working invisibly to heal spiritual wounds, strengthen virtues, and impart wisdom that transcends human understanding." The transformation that occurs during Eucharistic adoration happens in layers, beginning from the outside and gradually penetrating to our core. First, our thoughts begin to slow and our emotions settle, like muddy water becoming clear when left undisturbed. This explains the immediate sense of peace many experience. Then at a deeper level, our will, our capacity to choose, becomes gradually aligned with God's will. This is why regular adorers often report finding clarity for difficult decisions after spending time before the Blessed Sacrament. Most profoundly, Padre Pio witnessed a transformation at the level of the soul itself, what he described as a divine imprinting. Just as wax takes the impression of a seal, our souls receive the imprint of Christ's presence, becoming more configured to him. This explains why people who regularly spend time in adoration often begin to reflect Christ's attributes more clearly in their daily lives. Greater patience, selfless love, unexpected courage, and a peace that persists even in trials. One of the most beautiful transformations Padre Pio observed was how past wounds begin to heal in the Eucharistic presence. He saw that when people brought their deepest hurts before the Lord, often without even mentioning them in prayer, the light from the host would gently surround these wounded areas of their souls, beginning a restoration that sometimes took months or years to complete. The most profound healing, he would say, often happens in silence, beyond words, when we simply expose our brokenness to the divine physician. This healing light affects not just our spiritual dimension, but can extend to our physical bodies as well. Padre Pio witnessed countless physical healings originating from time spent before the Blessed Sacrament, some immediate and dramatic, others gradual and subtle. He understood that the body and soul are intimately connected, and that divine life flowing into the soul eventually brings restoration to the body as well, according to God's wisdom and timing. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this transformation is that it continues even after we leave the physical presence of the Eucharist. Padre Pio explained that each encounter with the Blessed Sacrament plants seeds that continue to grow, often bearing fruit days, weeks, or even years later. Your time there is never wasted, even when you feel nothing at all. If you desire to deepen this connection and experience more of these mystical realities that Padre Pio revealed, we've prepared something special for you. Our ebook, The Spiritual Secrets of St. Padre Pio, contains powerful prayers, reflections based on his teachings, and practical advice to strengthen your spirituality. This resource will help you understand the profound mysteries we're discussing today and apply them to your daily spiritual life. The book includes Padre Pio's guidance on developing a deeper relationship with the Eucharist, recognizing spiritual movements in your soul and cultivating the receptivity needed to experience God's presence more fully. Thousands have already found this treasure helpful in transforming their prayer lives and deepening their spiritual connection. Click the link pinned in the comments to access this special resource that can help you experience the profound presence we're discussing today. Now let's continue with what Padre Pio witnessed happening within us during these sacred moments of adoration. One of Padre Pio's most remarkable testimonies comes from a night in 1918 when he was praying alone in the monastery chapel. He witnessed the Blessed Sacrament radiating with such intensity that the entire sanctuary seemed ablaze. In that luminous moment, he saw countless souls, some he recognized as having died years before, gathering around the host in worship. They moved in and out of the light, being purified and transformed. The Eucharist, he later explained to his spiritual director, is the center not just of this world, but of purgatory and heaven as well. It is the beating heart of the entire mystical body. This vision revealed that Eucharistic adoration has effects that extend beyond our earthly realm, offering solace and purification even to souls in purgatory. Padre Pio often taught that when we adore the Blessed Sacrament, we join a communion that transcends time and space. Our prayers unite with those of the Church triumphant in heaven, the Church suffering in purgatory, and the Church militant on earth. This explains the profound sense of connection many experience during adoration. In that moment, the veil between worlds grows thin, and we participate in the eternal worship that will be our heavenly occupation. This reality helps us understand why the simplest prayer before the Eucharist can have such tremendous power. Your humble adoration, joined with the perfect worship of angels and saints, becomes amplified beyond measure. Padre Pio would compare it to a single drop of water falling into an ocean of grace. It merges with something infinitely greater than itself. Even more profound is what Padre Pio observed happening to our interior spiritual landscape during adoration. He saw that prolonged exposure to the Eucharistic presence gradually restructures our souls, creating what he called sacred pathways through which divine grace can flow more freely. This explains why regular adorers often develop heightened spiritual sensitivity over time. Their souls have been rewired to receive God's communications more clearly. The transformation doesn't happen all at once, but in gentle, almost imperceptible stages. Like a master sculptor working patiently on marble, the Eucharistic presence chips away at our hardness, removes impurities, and gradually reveals the divine image hidden within. Padre Pio would often counsel those disappointed by not feeling immediate effects. The most profound work of grace happens invisibly, like the growth of roots beneath the soil. You may not see the change day by day, but suddenly you will discover that your spiritual life has developed in ways you never imagined. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of what Padre Pio witnessed was how Eucharistic adoration affects our relationship with others. He saw that as a person sat before the Blessed Sacrament, the light emanating from the host would gradually extend beyond them, stretching out to touch the lives of people connected to them, family members, friends, even those they had difficulty loving. This explains why many report that after committed time in adoration, their relationships begin to heal and transform, often without any direct action on their part. This ripple effect of grace extends even further than we might imagine. Padre Pio insisted that a single hour of genuine adoration could impact an entire community, as the grace received by one soul overflows to nourish others. God's economy is not like human economy, he would explain. In the spiritual realm, what one receives, many can share without diminishment. This is why the presence of even one committed adorer in a parish can become a hidden wellspring of grace for countless others. But what prevents us from experiencing these profound realities? Padre Pio identified several obstacles that block our spiritual senses. The most common is distraction. Our minds, racing with worldly concerns, even as we kneel before the Lord. The noise of the world, he would say, drowns out the whisper of God. Another barrier is unconfessed sin that weighs on the soul like a heavy blanket, dulling our spiritual perception. Pride, too, creates a tremendous obstacle, approaching God with self-sufficiency rather than childlike trust. Padre Pio himself would spend hours preparing for Mass and Eucharistic adoration, purifying his intention and emptying himself of all that wasn't God. Come before him empty, he advised, so that he can fill you completely. This emptying wasn't about achieving some perfect spiritual state, but rather about honest acknowledgement of our need for God. He taught that humility creates the ideal conditions for divine encounter. The friar also noticed that many people sabotage their adoration experience by overthinking. They become so concerned with having the right thoughts or feelings that they miss the simple reality of being present with the Lord. His advice was refreshingly straightforward. Just be there. Your presence itself is a prayer. This approach liberates us from the pressure to perform spiritually and opens us to authentic encounter. A woman once traveled from America to see Padre Pio, devastated that she felt nothing during prayer despite her faithful practice. After confessing to him, she asked why God seemed absent to her. Padre Pio smiled gently and said, "My daughter, when you stand before the Blessed Sacrament, don't try to feel God. Simply know that he feels you. Your presence there is already a prayer. Your faithfulness, despite feeling nothing, is more precious to him than all the emotions in the world." The woman later wrote that this understanding transformed her prayer life completely. She stopped seeking spiritual consolations and simply offered her presence, and paradoxically began experiencing profound encounters with God. Padre Pio also addressed the common problem of physical discomfort during adoration. Many find that bodily pain, fatigue, or restlessness prevents deep prayer. His counsel was both practical and profound. Offer these very discomforts as your adoration. When your knees ache, he would say, let that pain become your prayer. When your mind wanders, let your gentle return to focus become your offering. This transforms our very struggles into pathways of communion. Perhaps the most difficult obstacle is spiritual dryness, those periods when God seems distant and prayer feels empty. Padre Pio experienced these dark nights himself, despite his extraordinary gifts. Yet he insisted these times can be the most fruitful of all. It is in darkness that faith is purified, he taught. When you feel nothing, but remain faithful anyway, your adoration reaches its highest form. The absence of spiritual consolation becomes an invitation to love God for himself alone, not for his gifts. Now here comes the most astonishing revelation that Padre Pio shared about what happens when we approach the Blessed Sacrament. He described seeing Christ himself emerging from the host to personally embrace each adorer. This wasn't just symbolic. Padre Pio witnessed Jesus extending his sacred hands to touch the head of each person, blessing them with precisely what they needed most, whether they realized it or not. Some received healing for physical ailments, others received clarity for difficult decisions. Still others received the grace to forgive deep wounds. But most profoundly, Padre Pio saw that every single person received a unique imprint of divine love, a sacred seal that marked them as having encountered the living God. No one, Padre Pio insisted, leaves the presence of the Eucharist unchanged. Even if they feel nothing, a transformation occurs at levels too deep for human perception. This spiritual reality explains why many people report feeling inexplicably different after spending time in adoration. Their problems haven't disappeared, their circumstances haven't changed, yet something within them has shifted. According to Padre Pio, this is because the Eucharist works at the level of our eternal soul, recalibrating our spiritual DNA to more closely resemble Christ's. This work happens slowly, imperceptibly, like seeds growing underground long before any sprout appears. Padre Pio witnessed that during adoration, Christ's gaze penetrates to our inmost being, seeing not just who we are, but who we are meant to become. His love responds not only to our present needs, but to our eternal destiny. This explains why adorers sometimes receive inspirations or promptings that only make sense years later. Jesus is preparing them for a future only he can see. The most moving aspect of this revelation was what Padre Pio observed happening at the moment when someone received Holy Communion with proper disposition. He saw the host radiating with such brilliance that it illuminated the recipient's entire body from within. For a brief, sacred moment, the communicant's body itself became tabernacle-like, glowing with the same divine presence that emanates from the monstrance during adoration. This radiance would gradually diffuse throughout their being, concentrating especially in the heart, creating what Padre Pio called a throne of grace within the person. During this intimate communion, Padre Pio witnessed that Jesus speaks to each soul in a language beyond words, a direct communication from spirit to spirit. These divine communications bypass our intellect and emotions, planting seeds of grace that often germinate only later when we are ready to receive them. This explains why many people find that insights and resolutions emerge spontaneously in the hours or days following communion or adoration, seemingly from nowhere. Perhaps the most consoling aspect of what Padre Pio saw was how tenderly Christ responds to those who come to him in their brokenness. Far from being repelled by our wounds and failings, Jesus is drawn to them, much as a physician is drawn not to the healthy parts of a patient, but to the areas needing healing. Padre Pio observed that the more honest we are about our weakness and need, the more powerfully Christ's healing presence flows into those very areas. It is precisely your wounds, he would counsel, that attract his mercy most strongly. Don't hide them, present them to him with childlike trust. How can we apply these revelations to our own spiritual journey? Padre Pio offered several practical steps. First, prepare your heart before approaching the Blessed Sacrament. Spend a few moments in silent recollection, perhaps in your car or outside the church, letting go of distractions and setting your intention. Second, position yourself physically in a way that expresses reverence, kneeling if possible, with hands folded or open in reception. Your body's posture helps focus your spirit. Third, begin with an act of faith, acknowledging Christ's true presence. Lord, I believe you are truly here. Fourth, simply be present. Don't feel pressured to fill the time with words or formal prayers. Sometimes the most profound adoration is wordless contemplation. Padre Pio particularly recommended gazing directly at the host, what he called heart-to-heart communication. He suggested imagining the barriers between you and Christ dissolving, allowing his divine life to flow freely into yours. For those who struggle with distraction, he advised gently returning your attention to the present moment whenever you notice your mind wandering, without frustration or self-criticism. Distractions during prayer, he would console his spiritual children, when handled with peaceful persistence, can actually deepen your humility and dependence on God's grace. Another practical recommendation was to bring specific intentions to adoration, but to hold them with open hands. Present your needs, concerns, and the people you carry in your heart, then surrender them completely to divine wisdom. Padre Pio observed that our surrender often opens channels of grace that our specific requests might inadvertently limit. For those with busy schedules, Padre Pio emphasized that even brief visits to the Blessed Sacrament bear tremendous fruit. It is better, he would say, to spend 5 minutes with deep reverence than an hour with a distracted mind. This counsel liberates us from believing that only lengthy adorations are valuable. A momentary heart connection with the Eucharistic Lord can sustain us throughout our day. Perhaps his most practical advice concerned consistency. Rather than making dramatic commitments that prove unsustainable, Padre Pio recommended establishing a regular rhythm of adoration that can be maintained over time. Spiritual growth, he taught, comes not from occasional intensity, but from faithful persistence. This might mean a weekly holy hour, a brief daily visit, or something uniquely suited to your life circumstances. For those unable to physically visit a church due to illness, distance, or other constraints, Padre Pio taught the practice of spiritual communion and remote adoration. He assured his spiritual children that sincere desire to be united with the Eucharistic Lord creates a genuine spiritual connection, regardless of physical proximity. The Lord sees the heart, he would say, and honors its deepest intentions. As we draw this sacred journey to a close, remember that the most important element in Eucharistic adoration isn't what we do, but what we allow Christ to do in us. Padre Pio saw that the greatest miracles happened not to those who performed elaborate devotions, but to those who came with the simplest, most childlike trust. Those who simply showed up, opened their hearts, and said, "Jesus, I believe you are here. I offer you my presence. Do in me whatever you will." The mystical reality of the Blessed Sacrament that Padre Pio witnessed is accessible to each of us. Though we may not see with his supernatural vision, we can experience the same transformative power. The angels still gather, the rays of grace still extend, and Christ still reaches out from the host to touch each adorer personally. This isn't ancient history or distant theology. It's happening right now, in this very moment, in tabernacles throughout the world. Think of all we've explored today: the angelic presence surrounding the Eucharist, the rays of healing light, the divine imprinting that reconfigures our souls, and most profoundly, Christ's personal emergence to embrace each adorer. These realities continue whether we perceive them or not. They are independent of our feelings, transcending our limited senses, yet intimately available to our faith. Padre Pio's life was a testament to the power of Eucharistic devotion. From his earliest childhood, he was drawn to the tabernacle, often spending hours in silent communion with the hidden Jesus. This relationship formed him, sustained him through terrible trials, and empowered his extraordinary ministry of healing and reconciliation. What transformed him can transform us too. The invitation stands before each of us to approach the Blessed Sacrament not as a ritual or obligation, but as a personal encounter with love incarnate. To kneel before the host knowing that what appears as simple bread conceals the Creator of the universe, who waits for you with endless patience and tender affection. To allow yourself to be seen, known, and loved with a completeness that no human relationship can offer. If something in this message has touched your heart today, write "Adoration Transforms" in the comments below. Your testimony helps spread this powerful message to others who desperately need spiritual hope. Don't forget to like this video and share it with someone whose faith might be strengthened by these revelations. And if you haven't already, become a member of our channel family to support our mission of spreading these sacred truths that the modern world has forgotten. Your support makes it possible for us to continue creating content that deepens faith and inspires spiritual growth. Each like, share, and subscription helps these messages reach more souls who thirst for authentic spiritual nourishment in a world that often overlooks these profound realities. Remember, we're not just building a channel, we're fostering a community of believers committed to rediscovering the mystical treasures of our faith. Your participation matters more than you know. Together, we can help others experience the transformative power of Eucharistic presence that Padre Pio witnessed and lived. From the depths of my heart, I thank you for joining me in this exploration of what happens when we approach the Blessed Sacrament. May Padre Pio's powerful insights inspire you to spend more time in adoration, experiencing for yourself the supernatural reality that awaits beyond the veil of ordinary perception. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly, and may Our Lady keep you safe in her maternal embrace.